Monday Night Football, baby. We're here.
Touchdown in 46 seconds. Punches back. Touchdown.
Run Pure Sports back with a UFC Fight Night, Sterling versus Zalal. I am Mike Brown, a.k.a. H3 Buddha. Are the dogs coming in early here? I mean, the dog with JSU coming in. John, I am pumped for this one because it is so ugly top to bottom that I love this shit. And last week, Canadian MMA, are they starting to come back, man? I mean, we got some Canadian love. Early, it was not looking good at all for the Canadian fighters out there.
It was not early for sure. They made it back up though towards the end, so you always love to see that when they make it back up. But that beginning of the card, especially my boy John Giannis, who not only did I pick, I bet. Picks and bets aren't the same. I get it. I picked them. I bet them plus 450 by KO. I even gave that out. Easy winner on the show, on the sheet, inside the distance, everything like that. So if you looked at the playbook, you looked at the picks, the sheet, the cheat sheet, all that stuff, I was super high on that fight. I said that fight was just an absolute slam fight. And I had John Giannis finishing it inside the distance. He did exactly that, Mike. The only thing that I got wrong in what I thought was going to happen was I thought he was going to get it done in like the second round. I didn't think it was going to happen that quick. That was the only thing in my thought. I really thought that it was going to happen. I picked it. I bet it, but I did not see it happening that fast. That was pretty impressive.
I don't think anybody did. I think the same thing that you did, probably some wrestling, something to negate that first round. But, you know, that was the first Canadian that went down, criminally under-owned. I think we talked about that. That was a great fight to target. You nailed it with that pick. Only 12% owned in the big GPP, I believe, for him. The couple other things. You had him. If you combine your favorite underdog with my favorite underdog in Herbert, I honestly think we should have been all over the place. I didn't have the combos that needed it. But if you look at Herbert, I said the line stayed the same. Hits like a truck. Nalo, north of 35, 36 years old. He's going to have fun fights. It's almost like a mirror of the same thing. We thought both of those fights were going to be important, and they absolutely were. Herbert, the highest score on the slate last week. Saracam, what did I say? Rinse, repeat takedowns. What does he not do? Rinse, repeat takedowns, but he gets a million significant strikes on Tanner Boser, who I said on this podcast last week was in there for a paycheck. You remember? I said he had one fight outside. He wasn't going to fight. He wanted to come back into the UFC, get his 40 grand to show, and he's a one and done. There's no way they bring back Tanner Boser. I can't believe. And then, I mean, Robert Valentine shock, JSU. Tell us how ugly that Canadian guy was. I mean, he did not even get off the bus.
That was another fight that I literally broke down perfectly. I told you guys when we looked at who Robert Valentine lost to, when you look at his 3 losses, I said he does not have the edge on any of those guys in the thing that he is the best at. And I said, he finally has the edge. He's going to be massively, overwhelming in the grappling and wrestling in this one. And what he do? He just like ran through the guy, got him down. And I mean, honestly, was that like not one of the easiest sub calls of the year so far? Like that was about as easy as a fight could look outside of just like running through and KOing him right away. Like that's about as easy as it's going to look when you see a sub. So yeah, Robert Valentine. I mean, we were all over that. That was like one of my favorite bets was him by sub. That smashed.
Movement. Another one, right?
Yeah.
Issue.
The Herbert one was the best call, and you were all over him as a pick. I unfortunately didn't bet or pick Jai Herbert. I had Nalo, but I did sprinkle the KO because I said Nalo, and you agreed, and I think this was your take. And it kind of clicked with me when you gave the take was like Nalo's going to bring possibly a good DFS score out of Jai Herbert, who's normally not the best DFS fighter. You know what I mean? He's not the best fantasy guy. And that was kind of your take. And I got lucky from that breakdown. So that's why it's always good doing these shows. You get, you kind of get both sides of the coin sometimes, and you get a little different perspective that can make something click in your head. So hopefully some others had that click, because man, that fight was fun. I mean, it looked like Nalo had him at first, and then all of a sudden Jai Herbert just comes back with that absolute bomb counter and just
two more points to hit on it. The women, you and I said bold, and I still stand by our call that 2 women would be on the winner. I think in a different world, we were right there. That Croden score of about 91, 92 points, something like that. Not bad for what she needed to do at 86.
That fight, how tilting was that fight? I'm sorry, you brought it up. I wasn't going to bring it up because now I'm going to go on a tirade, and I'll try and keep it short.
It's all good.
The most tilting thing ever is when you have a chick who is dominant, who can dominate on the ground, and the other girl is grabbing the fence, stopping takedowns, grabbing the fence to stand back up, Mike. I mean, as egregious as you can get of some fence grabs. I mean, full on grabs too. These weren't like one finger in the fence. You know, it was full on like grabbing, trying to pull her up off the ground, trying to stop her from getting taken down. When in the world can we just get, if you're not going to take a point, if you know that a takedown was coming, which a ref can clearly, they can clearly see, and they full on grab that fence as they're going down and stop it. Why in the world can't we just put them down? Why in the world can't the ref step in just like you would with a point? Ref step in, say, I'm not taking a point, but I'm putting your ass down and I'm putting you guys in half guard or whatever and go. Okay. Or I'm putting you in full guard and go. That's it. And you give them the takedown, because it changes the whole fight. I mean, it literally, it could have lost Melissa Croden the fight. Luckily it didn't, because she still got her down and smashed her at the end. She should have, though, got a finish. And I believe she would have got the finish if she got the first takedown she went for in the 3rd round. And also if when she got the takedown after that, the other chick didn't pull herself up using the fence to stand back up one time before getting taken down. So it's ridiculous. I mean, they need to be better at taking points for egregious acts. And I mean, Mike, am I wrong? Was that about as egregious as you get?
I mean, there's a lot of these regional guys when you're going out of these, especially out of the country, right, that end up being the refs. I think that really confuses things because they have their own mindset, and then they're not even tuned into the meetings, because they do have meetings before, right? They have all the guys huddle up. Mark Goddard's probably, God bless. You know, these are the rules, guys. God bless. But anyways, yes, I do think that you've got to put them down. Like, there's no excuse not to. The rule book even allows for it. There's no hardened rule.
You don't even have to take a point. Like, if you're worried, I get, refs, since I get them being a little apprehensive about taking points, because points, when you start taking points, it completely changes the fight, right? I totally understand it. You don't want to be the the reason.
You mean John Castaneda? What is
right?
What do you mean? Like that fight again? Nailed it last week. I said you could make a rule on this show. What did I say? Make a rule of Castaneda or Valentin. Now, Castaneda probably won the fight even with the point down and still lost it. But regardless,
I mean, it was a draw. He didn't lose it.
Points.
But
he would have been 91 points at 8K. And I think a lot of us would have been on him.
Again, though, he kept kicking him in the nuts. Like, you can't. You can't do that. I know it's egregious. I know he should have won. I'm not arguing that. But if you continue to foul when they warn you in the back, when they warn you in the cage, I mean, at a certain point, you got to take points. And, it's just got to be more consistent. I don't know who's got to get in these guys' ears.
Well,
Yeah, no baseball stream today. Baseball stream tomorrow. The only day we don't do them is on Saturdays. So baseball stream, me, DC, Big T, 2 or 3 of us will be on tomorrow. I think 10 a.m. Eastern time. Maybe we'll talk some hoops. Maybe we won't. I'm not 100% sure, Chad, but definitely tomorrow there will be a baseball stream, just not today.
Jasmine, I mean, we are already 10 minutes in. We will blow through this card. This is a great card. But Jasmine Jasudavicius.
No, we won't. Why are you lying to people?
I know. Well, yeah,
I don't know why you're lying to people right now.
Lying. I'm optimistic for you and I.
Jasmine
Jasudavicius fighting with a zin in her mouth. As a fitness guy, that zaps your energy. Doesn't it kind of dry you out?
Honestly, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I'm like, maybe that's why we didn't get the finish. You and I, not smashing, but definitely like we want that plus 350.
I'll say this. She is lucky that in that fight kind of went similar. She's lucky though that Karine Silva is so comfortable off her back, because she figured out how to stay safe after that first round. But Jasmine, she's slowing down a little bit. We might be getting a Jasmine fade coming soon, depending on her next opponent. I'll just say that, because she's definitely slowing down, unless she's just got the massive edge on the ground or something like that. Because she definitely looks like it's slowly coming to an end. And I'm a huge Jasmine fan, so I root for her. I always want to root for her, but. We'll see. We'll see who she gets next. I see a couple people in chat. My guy Mike.
Yep.
Good morning, gents. Let's get it. Last week was so mid. That horse decision cost me so much money. That horse decision was so bad. That's another one. I don't even want to get into it because it was just so bad.
Everybody's in chat this morning. Lone Wolf, Matus, Andy, Slappy, everybody's in here.
By the way,
ready to get in.
This is why I love my guy Matus. The Bills. This is why JSU is better than Big T on MMA. I agree. I just agree. I don't even know what it's referencing, but I just agree with the statement overall.
That guy.
And yes, Slappy, the stream has started.
I love how we say the stream has started. He probably doesn't even see us or hear us saying that. But yeah, that guy that looked like Big T in the stands. I don't know if you saw him tweet. Dude, that was one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
How crazy was that? Maybe a little bit skinnier Big T, but he looked exactly like Big T. It was hilarious. That was so good. So fucking good.
I think Big T could probably take on one of these people in the first fight. And it probably isn't going to be the psycho, Julia Palastri versus Talita Alencar. We have Palastri coming in as the favorite here at minus 230 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Talita Alencar is a plus 190. I already peeked. I saw who you cored or who you had slammed in this fight. Maybe I'm always looking a little bit over, but somebody else on Run Pure is on this person in this fight. But you have Brazilian on Brazilian crime, a typical fight with the women that is over 2.5 minus 330 to go to over 2.5 rounds. So probably going to a decision. But how do you not look at Alencar as a first look underdog? This girl is starting on DraftKings Sportsbook with a 4 on her takedown prop. The over, you know how the ladder works. Then you have the 2.5 at 110 plus money. I like her. And I'll tell you something. If you look at the physicality of Palastri, she hits. She will bite down and throw and throw and throw. That is her best attribute. Keep people off. She'll just continue to throw. But Alencar is an interesting case. She does gas out. She does slow down. She got lucky. She did so much damage to Carnelosi last time. She's gotten lucky before, right? But this is a girl for fantasy-wise that you have to look at right away. I really, truly think so. You look at Palastri. She's been taken down in every single one of her UFC fights. I think there's a world where you can get 7.5 minutes of Alencar. I really want a full gas tank. But, I mean, if she gets hit, Alencar, she's going to be in trouble. So I think this is a sneaky banger first fight of the night for fantasy. I don't think people are going to go here. Am I crazy for this? And I like Alencar to win round 1 even. There's the new props that come out that is to win a round, specific round. I think I would bet her first round.
Yeah, I do think, to be fair, I do think there's going to be some DFS love in Alencar. She does have the DFS style that you look for on DraftKings, right? When she's getting there, it's not like it's a ton of volume on the feet. And a lot of her fights are going to decision. It's more the takedowns, takedowns, control time. That's what you look for in scoring in DFS. She's put up 100 plus fantasy points in her last 2 fights. Granted, to just mid fighters or not good fighters, but now she gets, I would say, a pretty good test here in Palastri, who I think is very, very good. And I was kind of
Did you
surprised
just say
that
very, very good?
I think she's very good. Yeah, no, I do. I like her. I think she's a dog. I was surprised though when I saw the line and it was heavy Julia at like minus 250 on DraftKings or something like that. Because normally the grappler, when you see a girl who has gotten taken down in her UFC career a little bit and has struggled in that department, and then you see a grappler who does have some takedowns, normally, and a lot of times favors the grappler. This line is just screaming Julia, and I kind of get it. It just makes me like her even more. And I think she can find a finish late because, like you said, Alencar can gas out later in fights. Maybe the aggressive going for takedowns early in the fight gasses her out even quicker. And Julia's not going to stop. She's going to keep moving forward. She's going to keep trying to, get up. And when she's on the feet, she can throw and she can hurt Alencar. My only worry is like at the end of the fight, Mike, Palastri has her hurt multiple times, but doesn't want to like finish her because she's like lying on her back, trying to bait her into like going to the ground and then like can sweep her from there or something like that. But yeah, I'm just going to hope for a death gas, and Palastri plus 300 inside the distance seems interesting to me.
We are so far apart again. There was one fight last week where you and I differed, and you got like a split decision or some shit to bail yourself out. I forget which one it was.
Which one was it?
I'll have to go back when you're going.
I love when you tell me the ones that I beat you in. That is my favorites.
I'm a man, right? Like I'm not gonna be like, hey, I get shit wrong all the time.
I gave you credit for the Herbert call. That was like one of your best calls, I think.
Yeah. So Alencar, I'm unfortunately not happy that she's going to be popular for fantasy. I do think contextually for fantasy, this is going to be a tight card. You're going to need winners. I think even with 13 fights, I still think I'm looking at this as a money line type of card. Meaning I'm clawing for winners. So there's a world where Alencar could legitimately score at least something to get me there. I don't love that she's 20% owned. I'm seeing from all of my stuff. Palastri going to be very low owned, the lowest of probably the 9K 8,800 type of fighters. Probably less than 15%. I don't think she may touch 10%. Honestly,
yeah, I think she's right around there, 10, 15.
But if she's getting stalled out,
what do you think Alencar is?
I do think Alencar's 20. I think she's higher.
I was going to say 25, but yeah, between 20 and 25, I think is fair.
Yeah. I do think that she's going to get taken down at least 2 times.
Which is going to stall scoring for her.
Correct. But what happens if it's move fighter? And I mean, Alencar is somewhat of a punching bag deeper into fights. The unknown in this fight for scoring is how bad does Alencar gas out? Does she end up just on her back and then just being a punching bag? Is it holding on to the leg where she's getting a bunch? Those are the things that are very unpredictable. But I do like your call that Palastri will always just go for it, right? Like there's no quit. If she's quitting, it's probably because she got damage on her, whether it be getting choked early, like a Darce or something crazy.
Yeah, if she's quitting, it's like, and I don't think this is what happens, but it's like on the ground and she gets caught in something. Like some type of submission or something like that.
Yeah, and Big T also, I don't want to spoil our playbook, which you guys should be signing up and looking at, but he may like a little Alencar just like myself. Alt line, you say, where are those props? It is somewhat of a new market, and it's hidden on DraftKings Sportsbook. If you go to round props, you go all the way down, you go to round one props. I'm giving myself a plus 300 to start the night, minus 1.5 for Alencar. Again, I just need the scorecards going my way, which is a little worrisome. But if she's getting that grappling going, that plus 300 could look like a plus 125. Can you at least agree with that, JSU? If she's getting that wrestling off early, like her game plan always is? I think you're muted.
My bad. I think this is kind of how the fight goes. I think like Alencar probably does win round one, but slow.
Plus 300?
Yeah, that's a good bet. Honestly, it's a good bet. All you need is like one takedown. She might be stuck.
Correct.
First round.
So when I was
especially
breaking
while they're
down,
dry and shit, like she can easily, keep her down for like, a good chunk of the round.
Palastri's thick with like 20 C's. Like she's a thick girl, and Alencar's like, they're both wearing those skinny little shorts on the weigh-ins. They know what they're doing. They're like, first fight of the night, we got to advertise this thing. But I feel like if Palastri gets down, she will try to fight to get back up, but she is tough because she's just built like a short little fire, like, I don't know, who knows?
Bowling pin? What do you?
I don't know where I was going.
Yeah, come on, you're better. You're normally good with the quick one.
I know. Fireman? No, fireman not that small. I don't know.
All right, well, you figure that out. We got a bunch of other guys, and my guy Jimmy B. Morning, time to dive in to the slate. Listen to some winning take.
That's why we look out for each other. Fire hydrant. See, I couldn't get the hydrant. Okay,
there you go.
The brain just doesn't catch up sometimes. I admit. Okay, I get too excited. I think chat loves when I get too excited. And what am I going to get excited for? Probably not this fight. Victor Valenzuela versus Max Griffin. We have Max Griffin, the veteran here of the UFC, as the underdog to the debutante Victor Valenzuela. Minus 130 on DraftKings for Valenzuela. Max Griffin, plus 110. It's a good test right away. Victor Valenzuela, one of those guys that gets into the UFC off of a loss on the Contender Series. He didn't even get a win. But, I don't know why they do this. Why do they put these types of guys? Well, you know why?
Yeah, I know why. You don't know why?
Not really.
I can tell you why. There's a very clear reason why they like Victor Valenzuela, because he's extremely hittable, and he will just. I'm seriously. Even in fights where he's winning, he'll just sometimes randomly say "fuck it" and start brawling. This is why the UFC liked him, though. Even that loss in the Contender Series, I think they respected it because he went in against an absolute killer in Oliveira. That dude, if you didn't watch that Contender Series fight, I mean, that dude had Victor Valenzuela's face. It was bruised and battered after a round in like, a couple minutes in the second. He was beating the shit out of him, and Valenzuela was just standing in front of him. The dude literally will just stand in front of you like a punching bag, waiting to be hit and throw back. And the UFC likes fighters like that. They like fighters that will want to brawl. Look at the Vologden kid, right? They like those type of guys. Chin, walk forward, take 2-3 punches to the face, give 1 or 2. That's what they want. And who knows, maybe, Mike, and just hear me out, but maybe Max Griffin, this is the Jai Herbert of last week, where Victor Valenzuela's style brings it out of Max Griffin, because he's normally not a great DFS scorer, but he might just force it on Max. And I think Max is the better fighter. If you just tell me if this is a clean fight, if this is a technical fight, Max Griffin's winning this almost all the time here. Now, maybe Valenzuela can make it dirty, can make it not clean, and make Max uncomfortable. But at the same time, if he does that, I think it's going to leave opportunities for Max Griffin to hurt him and maybe find a finish or a knockdown or something like that. So I like Max Griffin. I bet him. And I do think the KO is live, even though it's not really his style. I think it's more who he's fighting that could bring out that KO. It's plus 450 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't think it's a terrible bet with Victor style. So yeah, I'm on the Max side for DFS. I do think this is a good fight, but I'm definitely going to have more Max.
We're right at the same thing. So we got the favorite in Valenzuela, 15%, about 20 to 25, I'd say, for Max. So you got two straight dogs that are higher owned for fantasy to start the slate, which is very interesting. I agree with a lot of the sentiments you said. Why aren't you taking a stab on the significant strike ladder? If you think these two are going to war, that might be a way to break it down, have a fun sweat. I mean, if you look at where they're beginning, the first, over-unders, Max Griffin, 46.5 is his over-under on DraftKings Sportsbook. Victor Valenzuela is 50.1. But you could even ladder both of these guys or do the safer route, which is the total strikes, because I think they're both durable, are they not?
Yeah, they are
Max,
both
definitely.
terrible. For sure. And I would be betting significant strikes on pick 6, but guess what, Mike, for this fight, there's no significant strikes. So I can't bet it on pick 6 right now.
So,
I would love to bet significant strikes on pick 6. The way it's looking right now, I really don't want to bet, even though I like knockout. It's only 2.7. Like, I don't really want to bet these other ones. Maybe less for Valenzuela would probably be my pick 6, because I think Max should be the favorite.
yeah, I mean, I hate that because he's a legit favorite because of the value is not there. But I understand that a vet test right away in the UFC is tough as hell for him. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I'm looking at that ladder. I think we're gonna have some fun on this card. If we're cooking up a significant strike in the second fight of the night, at least I am, and then with the Palastri, we're gonna have some fun. And Alencar. Wow. Control time is smoked on Alencar, by the way. I was looking, I'm like, please give me like 3 minutes. Nope. 430 for her on control. It's too bad that they don't have knockdowns instead of knockouts, because this is a fight where you could absolutely hit one of these guys for a knockdown.
I would be betting the knockdown for sure if they had a knockdown.
That's my first click on this particular fight, just like you, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let's pencil it in. You like it? I'm willing to compromise.
I like it for now. I definitely like it for now.
I wonder if you're going to like anything on the next fight. Francis Marshall, the Fire Marshal. See, that's a little theme. We've got a fire theme going today. Maybe we're on fire. We've got Lucas Brennan making his debut as a massive underdog, plus 380. Francis Marshall, a minus 500. What merits him to be this big of a favorite? Is it because Brennan just has not developed the full MMA repertoire? He's a jiu-jitsu kid, Bellator guy that just needs to get it to the mat. It seems like Marshall has well-rounded himself into a decent 50-50 type of fighter in the UFC. I thought so highly of him coming in to the UFC, right? Connor Matthews, our guy up here in the New England scene, he decisions him pretty well, gets into the UFC, and then ever since then, 50-50 type of fighter. I think the change of camp is going to be very good for him. But, I mean, if this thing hits the mat and when they're dry, Brennan is live. I'm not calling Brennan at all. I don't think he's durable enough. But these lines seem to be getting crazy, don't they? Like, people know what's going on. They know the commodities that are coming into the UFC now, and they know Brennan is a low-tier Bellator guy that just needs to rely on submissions or control. Like, he should have control. If he gets top position, you're going to have a clinched butthole.
Yeah, but I've also seen, like, on the ground, him struggle at times to control some of these guys the later these fights go. So I agree with you. I think Francis Marshall is skilled enough and well-rounded enough to where it's not just a completely one-sided, fight here. Obviously, Brennan does, he wants to make this a grappling match. That's where, he does his best work. But I don't know. Francis is just he's good, man. Even in the Santos fight, like he showed out. I know he ended up losing, but he showed out in that fight. Santos is good. He's fought some good fighters, and I just like him overall. So yeah, you could say the line is wide, I think. And from a betting standpoint, I don't know if I love any bets here, just with the line the way it is. I don't love it. I think Brennan is, he's tough enough. He hasn't been finished yet. Obviously, this is definitely his best fighter he will face so far in his career. That's for sure. But I think he's tough enough to maybe withstand the early finish and maybe lengthen this fight a little bit more. So and I don't think Marshall's going to be forcing takedowns for scoring purposes in DFS. So I'm kind of lower on Marshall. If we're just looking at the top tier, I think he's one of the top tier guys. There's like two, I think. Well, let me just look at my
three, but two clear.
There's two fighters in the 9K though that I think I'm lower on than the rest, and he, well, he's not the lowest, but he's right there. He's like third or fourth for me.
I mean, it's the gap, right? I mean, you have three fighters right there on top that are 200 more than Vieira. So I think that's the gap, right? You have Montague, Marshall, Filho. Filho is going to be a first click for a lot of people. So then it becomes a decision. Do you want to get crafty? Perhaps Marshall is going to be lower than Montague. I think people are on to just Montague being a monster for fantasy. But same type of situation there, which we'll talk about. It's like, does Marshall want to push grappling? If no, it's going to be in, out, and it's not going to score well. So I am also seeing the same thing you are, that there is potential for it to be a little bit slower for scoring purposes. Now, the over or under on the fight from this one is actually 2.5 is -135. Go to a decision is +100. Sounds like you thought maybe there's a world where it does go to a decision. I'd probably take the +100 goes to a decision and just a little sprinkle, nothing crazy, not a lock, but I think Brennan can have enough in the tank to negate it, whether it be just dancing on the outside away from the punches that are coming his way in bunches, or on the mat, maybe there's some clinch control to try to get it to the mat. He, like you said, never been finished, and it's +100. Has Marshall, I mean, outside of our boy Isaac, where's Isaac in chat? He'll be in here later, right? Nobody's finished him, right? I mean, I don't think anyone's finished since Isaac's got him.
Yeah, no, Francis Marshall's a tough dude, man. I don't think he's getting finished here. I think if there's a finish, it's for sure on the on his side. He's finishing Brennan, but I think both these guys can last. So I'm lower on this fight as a whole. We'll see if that could definitely bite me here, because I know that Francis Marshall is definitely the rightful favorite. And he does have power. He is dangerous, and he's dangerous on the ground. He's good on the ground too, Mike. I don't want to make it sound like he doesn't have skills. I just know that Brennan wants this fight there. So if you're Marshall, it's like, if I know he wants to grapple, I should definitely want to strike with him. I would assume that's the game plan.
He was with that jiu-jitsu based guy in New Jersey that was kind of like the lone wolf trainer in his garage or something like that. But now he's going to a bigger camp, if I'm not mistaken, too. So like, this is kind of one of those spots where, hey, I'm taking my career very serious. I made it to a bigger gym. Like, this is one of those spots where he could look more like a -1,000 than maybe the closer line, like we think it might be a -350. The next fight, if you're betting this fight pre-flop, I think you are the craziest person in the world. Jafil Filho versus Cody Durden. Filho a -600 on DraftKings. Come back on Cody Durden a +440. Cody, what the fuck are you doing? TSU, does this guy just have no brain cells? 4 straight losses, needs a win, and going against a grappling-based fighter where he will want to go for takedowns like he always does in the first round, and then tires out. Now, I do have a feeling Filho has gassed out in the past. I think he was sick a few fights back. What was the fight where Alan Nascimento, he had it, remember? He had the back and he slipped right off, and it was a call where I liked him, and I'm like, well, he's on the back, he's not getting back up. There's some fundamentals there that I think he was just sick. Other than that, this guy has produced very well for us as a commodity. This is definitely a spot that Durden's coming in late notice to maybe he thinks he's got an advantage. But I mean, if this thing ends up being a scramble fest, he's going to get submitted. He always shoots his head into something crazy. And do you agree with me? If you're betting this, there's only one bet you make. It's Cody Durden. And if the line flips or even comes close to flip, you could arbitrage out of it because he always comes out hot in that first round. I just don't know if he wants to do that here. Like he's almost playing into Fiala's plan if he does that.
Well, could we say that Cody Durden is fighting for those bonuses? He might not get them, but he's trying. He's trying, and it's happening. And there's a lot of losses in there. One of my biggest bets on the card last time Cody fought, I still remember this, was Cody Durden and Tumen Demirel, the fight to end via sub, and I think it was like plus 185 or something like that. Or whatever it was, plus 250. I can't remember. I thought it was the best bet on the card. It didn't hit, obviously. The fight went to a decision. But if you go back and watch that fight, both these guys had like 10 chances to submit the other guy. It was absolutely insane, the amount of grappling. And if Cody Durden comes in again with that style against Jafil, there's gonna be a submission. There's going to be a submission. And I agree with you. I think it's on the Fiala side. So one of my biggest bets on this card is actually on DraftKings Sportsbook. You go to SGP, take Jafil under 2.5 and buy submission. You can get plus money. His submission prop right now is like minus 120. But you can get plus money up to like plus 110, plus 115 with that SGP right there. And all you got to do is cut off that last half round. So I think that's hitting. I think, like you said, Cody Durden, if Jafil doesn't get him down, which I think he could do, Cody Durden eventually is going to shoot right in to Fiala. And then from there, Fiala is just going to go to work. I saw a clip of him, and he was talking about like the exact submissions that he goes for, and like his style and how he'll transition from certain positions, from an arm bar to a reverse triangle. He was saying it like for the fight too. He's like, so I set it up with this, and then I do, like, literally like telling exactly what he wants to do in this fight. And I could see it. I could see Cody Durden getting armbarred or triangled or reverse triangle, whatever he was talking about here. So
hit me with that link or tell me later, because I got some of those. I got some of those MGM.
I found it scrolling on Twitter, so I'll find it for you again.
Those little $5 freebies that I can on MGM, exact submissions.
He was literally talking about a reverse triangle.
That's all I need to know.
He said he goes from the arm bar to the reverse. Like, I can go from the arm bar to the reverse triangle. So those were the two he was talking about. He's like, he was pretty much saying like, my grappling, I don't just go for the neck, right? I'll grab a leg. I'll grab an arm.
Let's not overthink it, guys. It's Cody Durden. His neck is there for the taking.
I'm just saying though. He was saying like, in my grappling, I don't need to just get his back and grab his neck like some people do. He's like, I can grapple and get him from any situation, pretty much is what he was referring to. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but it makes sense why the submission is what it is. And
he's a first click. So Fiala is a first click for 90% of like the high rollers on this slate, and Durden's only going to be 8%. I do not think Durden is going to be the lowest owned fighter on this slate. I think you just have the mixed bag of McConico, Silva, Brennan that are going to really compete for the lowest owned fighter. But Durden does score, so it's like one of those situations where even in chat, Corey in the house was saying, it's an interesting price point for a guy that absolutely should score, until he probably gets finished is really the big problem. So I am looking at Fialho as a strong play. I worry that, maybe it might just be one takedown into a submission. So it's 95 to 102 points. That's my biggest concern. Do you have the ability to go under on this? I haven't looked at they don't, what fantasy points? 99.5. What did I just say? 95 to 102. It's right there in the middle. Like,
yeah, it's a perfect line. And what sucks too is like we could get an early submission and him score like 98.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And not to mention, imagine if Fialho knocks out Durden, like that would be fucking hilarious.
The
like,
knockout is plus 330, and
that's why.
That's not crazy just because Fialho does throw heavy. His striking isn't like super technical but he does throw heavy. The problem is if he doesn't drop him with like one shot, Mike, he's jumping on a sub right when he hurts him.
Yeah,
that's the only problem.
One knockdown statistically on the Contender Series. That's all he's ever had. But it does feel like he uses it. I think he's the fighter that one time was against another guy, punches him into the takedown, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was hilarious. So then it counted as a takedown, not a knockdown. But definitely interesting. You and I need to work on our pronunciations. I think it's the Boston thing. I'm starting to learn this. Can you say Jafil Filho? Because you kept saying like a falafel. You were calling him Jafil.
I called them Fialho.
Yeah, Jafil, but
Jafil Fialho, yeah, Jafil. All right,
it's sorry, but we work together through this Boston accent. Myra Bueno Silva versus Michelle Montague. Michelle Montague, big favorite, minus 440 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Myra Bueno Silva, a plus 340. Doesn't it seem like they're just trying to get rid of some of these fighters? Like, Bueno Silva has to be getting a pretty decent paycheck for who she's fought and what she is in the UFC. But like, this is very much like, hey, you didn't look good on the scales. I don't think, if you saw that, she didn't look good at all. Michelle Montague, A++ type of grappler, going to a decision against Juana Carolina. But hey, octagon jitters, whatever you want to call it. Is it a striker versus grappler at best here? I mean, 5 takedowns. She's obviously clearly a very, very strong player for fantasy. We know that. But as in the X's and O's of the fight game here, she's got to develop the striking. If you're going to develop striking, let it be this fight, because Silva, dude, she doesn't really have the best fight IQ. Like, she could play into any world. Like, she might go for the neck and then end up on bottom and then just ride it out. It could be a 3 takedown type of fight. It could be negate itself for a little bit on the mat, and then they strike, and Montague might have more volume. I legitimately think that, because she's faster.
Yeah, this fight is very I think it there's multiple paths here, but the one that makes the most sense is honestly Montague gets the takedowns. Bueno Silva like almost accepts it into her grappling, right? And then we could get stuck with a Carini Silva Jasmine ride out decision. The only thing I will say though is Montague, when she's down on top, she throws heavy. She's very aggressive. So maybe that can change a little bit. Maybe Bueno Silva tires out after a round and a half, and this is a situation where you can go Montague round 2 or round 3 finish. I think is kind of interesting, because I could definitely see Bueno Silva having like legit a round of cardio, maybe a round and a half, and then gassing out from there. The one thing I will say about Montague, though, just to throw this out there, her striking defense is on another level of bad. Like, it is really, really bad. I don't know how else to put it. Like, she got dropped by Luana Carolina. She got hurt multiple times. She leaves her chin to just be hit. And if you can throw heavy and connect, you can hurt her. So, like, Bueno Silva hurting her would not shock me at all. Like, Bueno Silva, as she's rushing in, throwing like a bomb and it connecting and dropping her or putting her back. That's in the realm of possibility early in the fight. So it's probably not going to happen, but you could sprinkle that KO number at 30. What's it? 30-1, Mike, or something like that. Because Montague does leave openings to be hurt. But I think the way this goes is probably the way the Carini fight went with Jasmine. Decision, ride out, maybe a late finish.
Yeah, I was so hoping that on DraftKings Sportsbook, a significant strike market, they'd have closer to the 50 for Mayra Bueno Silva, because this is a lady who, in her last, I believe, 4 fights that were 3 rounds, she was going like 36. Like that number is very accurate. 36.5 is on the sportsbook side of things because she just doesn't throw. And I think it's all pointing back to, remember years ago, she got dinged on one of her fights for, was it Ritalin or one of those, like the attention drugs? I forget what it was, but she was taking it pre-fight, which is a banned substance. I mean, it's not a performance enhancer, but I mean, I guess it is a performance enhancer if you can't fucking focus.
They were giving me Ritalin at like 7 years old. Come on.
I honestly, I swear to God, that's just made her career go down because she's just not focusing. And she'll start focusing at like the 12.5 minutes. And that's not going to win a fight.
Well, and like everyone's talking about, she looked bad. She looked bad on the scales last fight. Do you remember? She looked awful. Like she looked bad again. It's just, her time's coming to an end here. I could see, though, Montague striking a little bit more. What do we think about the 39.5?
Is that the total on significant strikes?
For Montague.
You have to take the over, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
the starting point, I've got open on my phone right now. Montague is 48.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. That is value and a half, man. They're getting 10 strikes, basically.
I like it.
Yep. And just another thing, don't be surprised if Montague is going to be working her way towards that belt. I think if you looked at Jacqueline Cavalcante, who they like as well a bit, put those two against each other after Montague rolls, because I feel like stylistically that would really challenge Montague. So it'd be
that'll challenge Cavalcante too, because she needs like a big stamp on her like resume and stuff like that. And like she has the style, that like counter style that could really hurt Montague.
I love matchmaking, don't you? Just fantasy booking things and seeing ahead.
She has the perfect style to really like force a finish and hurt her or get hurt if she goes down. But
it wasn't last fight card that Gable Steveson. It was the card before that got signed, right? Technically signed by UFC. I think it was 2 cards ago that he got signed. A big question to you was, who do you think Gable Steveson? Do you think he goes right into a top 15? Do you think Gable goes against like a?
I think it's hard for them not to put him against like a top 15, but I think the UFC also probably does want to make sure. So maybe they give him
Austin Lane
layup, give him a layup off the bat. And then we might see like the biggest favorite we've seen in a really long time. Because knowing the UFC, they like to build these guys up a little bit. Even guys like him who are already like a name a lot of people know, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people, I feel like they still want to build it up. So yeah, it's that's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I really thought he was coming on the White House card.
Me too. I thought it was going to be a late notice, especially with him training with John Jones. John Jones not being on it. You have John Jones in the corner. It would have been perfect for everybody. Click on fantasy points while I on this page right here, and tell me what I'm going to click in a second when I break down Jackson McVey being a -175 favorite in the UFC fight versus Cedricus Dumas, who somehow knows where the bodies are, just like our boy back in the day, CM Alvey. CM Alvey had 100 million fights lost in a row, but he comes in at a +145 underdog. Talk about elite underdog upside in Dumas. It legitimately is. It's going to be such an ugly fight that this thing should score very well. But what am I going to say, JSU? -175, 84.5, and a potential grapple and potential violence. How are we not clicking over 84.5? If you're on just straight up Dumas, I don't hate it, right? Like, I think it's going to be a coin flip and you're getting plus money. So inside the distance is minus 145. Do you know how close that is to his money line? 30 cents. All it is Jackson McVey's win condition inside the distance, and that's it. They think that Dumas is going to vet test him.
Yeah, I mean, they think if the longer it goes, maybe it leans Dumas. That's a good that's interesting right there for sure. Before I get to this fight, Spencer, I think he's really trying to tilt me right now. JSU, what are your Rams doing with this draft? LOL. Have they done something else? I did the draft for day 3 start already? Is it already started? I'm sure they picked some other. If it did, I'm sure they already fucked up day 3 like they fucked up day 1 and day 2. I don't know, honestly, what the fuck they're doing. They're like, oh, okay, it hasn't started yet. Thank God. Maybe they can salvage day 3 and find some guys that can actually help them this year. But it's awful.
Is Puccheia in rehab still?
Who knows what the fuck Puka's doing? I mean, it's just terrible though. They get a second or third string quarterback. They said he's gonna compete with Stetson Bennett for the backup job. I mean, he needs to compete with Stetson Bennett, and you're drafting him at 13. Okay, and you have the MVP at quarterback. Okay, that's not helpful. Clipboard holder for Matthew Stafford, and then you go out and you get a tight end in round 2. When you can make the case that your tight ends are just stacked and they all know the fucking offense. I get it. You want to run the 3 tight end sets, probably more. They worked last year. Who knows? Maybe that means Higbee gets cut or something like that, Davis Allen, but I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Honestly, I've been on tilt ever since the quarterback pick in round 1. And I think I might be out on the Super Bowl favored Rams this year. I think they're the favorites right now, plus 750, and I might just have to be out on the.
You just take
Rams.
the under win total.
Well, I don't want to. Let's not go crazy right now. There's still going to be.
You know my brain. You know my brain. Right?
I'm just saying. I don't think I can stomach betting them as the favorite when they're doing these type of moves. I mean, these type of moves are just terrible. They could have honestly gotten 2 players that could have really helped their team this coming year. And they said, nah, we'll get a 4th or 5th string tight end and we'll get a 2nd or 3rd string quarterback.
You know what's amazing? If we had a draft for the UFC, and I shit you not, just because of how active he is, 3 fights last year for Cedricus Dumas. See, you love my segues, right? You go, I don't know how NFL got in here. Thank you, Spencer. But
you know how someone brought it up. That's how. But not only could they have gotten Lemon, if you really thought, hey, this 3 tight end shit, this 13 personnel, it really worked last year. We got to do that even more, right? If you really thought that, and you're like, you know what, we should get a 4th tight end in the draft, then why didn't you just draft Sadiq? If that was your plan, you could have just drafted Sadiq, and at least you would have had an absolute freak at tight end that you could have moved around and played a little at receiver, little inline, little like you could have done different things with them. But no, they didn't do that. I'm sorry. I know this is an MMA show. I blame chat. Spencer.
No. While you're doing it, I'm clicking around and I'm going, Jackson McVey, how do I try? If I want to have this side, how do I get around it? And I'm looking at all of these things, and a lot of things do not make sense on this. Him by knockout plus 200, him by sub plus 200. He's inside the distance line, like I said earlier for McVey, minus 145. That makes no sense if you look at those 2 plus 200s. But best price on market is if you want Cedricus Dumas to win inside the distance, which is absolutely in the cards, plus 225 DraftKings Sportsbook, best price on market. I was trying
you got me as I'm typing right now in chat.
Of course you're typing in chat. You get the Rams.
Yeah.
Get the Rams meat out of your mouth.
I can't help it. Okay, people know my bias. Okay, Matthew Stafford stan right here. Okay, I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan. I wanted to see him go out on top this year, retire with the Super Bowl chip, and no, Rams have different plans. They want to be more like mediocre than actually really, really fucking good. But back to this Jackson McVey fight, which I know everyone is excited to watch. Dumas and McVey fight. Honestly, Mike, this was the first fight in a while where I didn't want to pick a winner because either way, I'm embarrassed. Okay. I'm embarrassed betting Jackson McVey at minus 190 against anybody in the UFC. It's embarrassing. He's not good.
He's young.
But Cedricus Dumas is another level of bad. I went back and forth on this fight 3 different times. In the first time, I'm like, Dumas is plus 160, 70. How the heck am I not betting him at that number? Even if I don't like him, which you guys know, probably my most hated fighter in the UFC is Cedricus Dumas. I don't know why he's still in the UFC. Someone said in chat a couple days ago, guy's been arrested more times than he's had UFC fights, and he's had a good amount of UFC fights. So that's saying something right there. But they keep just throwing him back in. So I'm like, how do I not? Jackson McVey is not that good. But then I watched Jackson McVey fight. I watched Cedricus Dumas fight again. I went back and watched some of their fights. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm not betting Dumas. I'm betting McVey by KO. Every fight, he's gotten into a grappling situation where he's made a mistake. The Bruno fight where he tried to take Bruno's back. He got too high. Bruno just shook him off and then got that arm bar pretty easily off the head and arm. The Bruno fight, though, at least he went into the fight and I knew Bruno was just better everywhere. Bruno was better on the ground. Bruno was better on the feet. He had more power on the feet, all that stuff. At least in this fight, Mike, I think the striking, you can lean McVey, even though I think his striking is terrible. Like, that's how bad I think Dumas is. So, yeah, I think that's probably my lean is McVey by KO. And just, I pray he doesn't get in a grappling situation because every time he's gotten in those situations, he's gotten subbed in the UFC.
I was surprised that McVey was plus 225 for one takedown.
Really?
Cedricus can get beat to the legs. So if you look at when he's getting taken down, it's the problem is he's a big boy, right?
I don't think he's going to go for takedowns, Mike. I think he might have a fear of getting subbed. And because he doesn't know what to do when he gets in trouble on the ground. He panics. Like the Zachary Reese fight. Zachary Reese was just hitting him for like 5 seconds. And they were like, okay, shots. And then all of a sudden, he just panicked, tried to get up, and he took his back so easily and just put in that choke. And that was what Zachary Reese hurt. Remember, McVey was winning a lot of those exchanges on the feet until they got into the grappling. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
The sportsbook thinks that Cedricus is more often going for takedowns than McVey.
He should force grappling and see if McVey can make a mistake.
Do you remember when D1 Dumas came in against wasn't it like Brundage or somebody? I forget who he got, and he just like took him down, and it was the worst fight of all time. Yeah, this is probably going to be historically bad for watching purposes for fantasy.
That Cody Brundage fight, he had like 17 significant strikes in a decision win.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And Brundage had like less, I think, didn't he?
Yeah. There's nothing happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can score nothing. When you look at ownership side of things, Jackson McVey on this slate going to be 40%. I'd say 33 to 40%. Like, I don't know if people are going to have that much confidence. I think it's a little bit easier to play Dumas, right? Dumas being 20%. He's the best leverage. If you're playing Cedricus, this is that guy you got to point to and say, that's the leverage that's going to win this slate. And it's horrible. It's terrifying. I actually think that McVey is the side. I think he can win this anywhere it goes. The youth is going to win out. That's what you kind of didn't hit on, but I think that he's just young. Jackson is very, very young for his career startup versus Cedricus, who Probably might have a parole officer chase him around in the
I mean,
octagon.
Cedricus is 30. He's 27.
That is one of the roughest 30s. How do you even tell how old somebody is when they have face tattoos?
I'm just saying he's 30. So,
That's,
you know,
30 plus a couple. We move on to
the line moving in Dumas's favor does make some sense to me because no matter how much I don't like him, Jackson McVey should not be almost minus 200 against people in the UFC. Like, it just shouldn't. This line should be, in my opinion, Mike, I think this line should be more like Jackson McVey minus 130.
the opener. The opener was minus 150.
Yeah, okay. That's more reasonable, at least.
Yeah,
more reasonable.
And that's probably exactly what I said. The youthfulness, the the lack of name value. What would you even call that for Cedric Dumas? It's reversed. They're like, nah, we're fading this guy based on it. Let's move on to the next fighter. We're gonna be here all day long.
Mike didn't put this together for his change. You didn't get the McVey correlation going when talking from the Rams to
shoot me a text next time so I make me look like $1 million. Come on, man. Damn it. It was right there for the taking too. Shit. Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric McConico. Vieira minus 330 favorite. One of the bigger ones here versus McConico plus 270. Binary fight or not? We need that offensive wrestling to actually show up for Vieira to have success. Get it to the mat early. Get him out of there. I think, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy that relies on it 100%. But God damn it, has he burned people before and nobody wants to get behind him. He still hasn't developed the striking. I mean, he last fought in last November against Nickel, where, he wasn't really keeping it competitive, but he was staying alive until he got memed on, right? Like, get destroyed. I think you need to have him go out there and get at least 2 takedowns, and he should win this fight, because that would probably mean he's winning a round or 2. I just don't know what the deep end of this fight looks like. McConico is still an unknown commodity, is he not? He kept it super competitive and against Susakarniev, and he did the job against Brundage. Did the job. I just don't know what to think about this fight. I think it's a logical one to take a dog stab on McConico, but when you look at for fantasy, Vieira's a guy that can get 130 over 3 rounds or potentially on a deep first round finish. I'd rather a 430 in the first round, to be honest.
Yeah, before I hit this fight, did you want to take Jackson McVey over?
Yeah, if you're not taking the McVey over based on the value, I think you're doing it wrong. And
all right, I just had to ask before I plugged it in. I just wanted to ask.
Do you not like it? Because I don't like it, but I have to plug my nose for the value.
I thought that was the only play.
The inside the distance line is minus 170, which is right there at 85 points, right? Knockdown, second round, something like that is right there. So go ahead.
Yep. Back to this fight here. I do think this fight is the line is a little wide here. McConico, I think he's solid. I don't think he's like super special in any one area, but I think he's good enough to maybe like keep this thing on the feet, stay away from the grappling where Vieira is going to have the definite I think edge, obviously. And if he can do that, this line is a lot tighter than what it's showing right now. So I think you're right. The dog stab from a betting perspective is a good look here for McConico. So that would be my bet would be him. I think him by decision probably, but I probably just bet him on the money line. And then for DFS, I think it is a decision fight if McConico's winning. So I don't think he scores a lot, Mike, in a decision win here, because I don't think there's going to be wrestling and grappling on his side. I'll have a little bit just because he's cheap and I'm betting him, but this is more dog or pass for me. I'm gonna end up fading Vieira and hope it's not one of those big 130 takedowns, control, and just dominate him on the ground here. I'm hoping McConico can try and keep it a little closer.
I was hoping you would be like, oh, we're going to see an offensive wrestling Vieira. He just hasn't developed his wrestling at all in the UFC. And you know what's even more wild is his inside the distance line has just stayed at that plus 100, plus 110 the whole week. Like, if you imagine people were trying to play him, right? Who wants to play the minus 330? I imagine people would take some stabs at the inside the distance. I might be probably taking that trap as well because, I mean, when this thing hits the mat, there's levels, and he is so far ahead of McConico on the mat that should be the path of victory. And McConico isn't like a one-hitter quitter type of guy, but like Vieira could be that one that absorbs one or two punches and really starts going backwards. So a fight I'm very scared of from a fantasy aspect when I'm looking at ownership wise, Vieira being 30%. It's going to be interesting, the difference between Vieira, Montague, Marshall. Those ownerships there, I all have on that 30%, but I think it's going to be crucial to the slate. Do you believe the same thing I do? Like, getting that right combination is going to be important, or leverage. So then the leverage would be McConico, Silva, or Brennan. And I don't really have faith in Silva or Brennan. So logically, you and I would probably be taking shots on McConico, no?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said like I'll take a few stabs on him just for, getting a little unique. But yeah, it's more of a betting spot for me for sure. Take a stab on the dog, but I get it. Vieira's he's I mean, let's be honest, like Vieira has some decent wins. He also has some bad wins when you look at, his record. So
Yeah, we just need to build a fighter, because if you had Vieira's VJJ background with like an American wrestler, game over, dude. This guy wins.
the problem is you just don't get those type of guys. Like if you get those type of guys, they're champions. You know what I mean? Like
Gregor Gillespie. What could have been. We move on to the next fight where we have another ace on the mat, Marcus Puccheia versus Ryan Spann. You talk about ugly. We go from ugly on Dumas, McVey to a Puccheia and Ryan Spann. Marcus, minus 155 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Ryan Spann, plus 130. You give me the X's and O's to start this thing, because you're going to have to plug your nose on one side here or the other.
Yeah, I'm gonna plug my nose and go with the Puccheia side here. Ryan Spann, he's one of those fighters that's just he's super frustrating at times, and I do think this fight there could be a little fuckery going on with this fight, Mike. This fight is going to be interesting here. Both guys are going to be live. I think there's going to be a finish. So kind of just like choose your fighter, which fighter you want to lean with. I definitely thought going into breaking down the fight, I was going to be on the Ryan Spann side. But I do think Puccheia does. I mean, he at least like throws heavy and has takedowns and obviously elite grappling if he gets it to the ground here. So I think this fight does finish under, what is it, 1.5 is under? Yeah.
It's a Ryan Spann fight, dude. So we've got 1.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook, minus 160 to the under.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
the movement's been good this year. I keep talking about sometime something's going to happen, but Puccheia had some
took
love.
Off the takedown. I was looking for it.
Even earlier, I was looking at one of the takedowns, and they were off as well. Montague's takedowns were off the board.
Do we think it can get past 6 minutes?
Absolutely. But that's right at that, the under. You're basically middling the under, right?
Yeah.
With juice. I'm taking a peek at the takedown props on DraftKings here for Puccheia. The only problem is, how many times have we seen Spann try to go for a guillotine, right? When
he's going to go for it.
It's just going to play into a Puccheia who can go off to the side.
It's going to play into the Chechnya takedowns.
Correct. Which all he needs to do is move over to the side, release the choke, and he's got top position. He'll probably put his arm down on the throat.
He should be a good enough grappler to where, he should be able to, know that's coming and avoid it. And once he gets down, he should be able to, I don't hate this round 1 or 2 sub.
coffee.
I think that's the play right here.
Yeah, I mean, his inside the distance line isn't bad, right?
Nope.
What overall is -110. I think you just go sub. I don't even think you need to go knockout. I think
Yeah.
Span moving up in weight is one of those anomalies where typically they move up in weight and they're faster and they're a little bit more craftier, right? They're a new rejuvenated fighter. Ryan Span just went from like 230 to like 245 and is like 260 now. You know what I mean? Like that's not the proper way to go about it. You kind of want to stay slim so you can go in and out, dart for striking. But if I'm pointing at one fight that potentially could be a bust from a high owned standpoint, would you agree that it would be this one if it gets a little bit extended and Buchecha doesn't get the wrestling going? This one could be just awful on the feet. They could combine for like 35 strikes at distance.
Oh, definitely.
And
100%.
and that is on the table for sure. Ownership wise, I think Buchecha eats it all up in this zone, don't you? He's going to be about 40%. I wouldn't be surprised if he's higher in higher dollar contest, lower field entries. And if you're looking at the other side of this thing, Span being 25, I don't even look at that as elite leverage. Like I look at Dumas as better leverage, which is horrifying. And that's just the state that we are in MMA. So nothing we like unless you like fantasy points, but I don't know if you're that high on Vieira. Now the money line, you know what I'm going to say, 86.5 is correlating to a -330. That's way off. But we're talking about Vieira, who if he's gassed out and he's got all that lactic acid on his arms, right? How many times have we seen him like just tired as shit? It's not going to be good. So like a third round finish for him in Vieira, and then Span side of things, fantasy points. Where's the under on the 74.5 Span? I want that. Can we draw
I want
it in?
that too. That's what I want too. Do you want to take
I do.
what do you want?
Well, Span should be on his back, and I think it correlates with significant. I mean, you're compounding the scoring. He should be at least striking from top. I don't think he's going to be aggressively because Buchecha could gas himself out if he goes Donkey Kong on his ass. You know what I mean? Like, I legit think he could. So, trappy line, but I think you have to take the over 69.5.
Yeah, and one bet I did make little 2-leg parlay for the people here. Buchecha and Jafil Filho, however you say that name right there.
Yeah.
Both
falafel.
Both round 2 subs. 38-1, 38-1, both of them to get it done in round 2 by submission. I did sprinkle a little honey spot on that parlay right there. So
this boy is clip hunting we could be going for, but that's okay because next fight up we have Montague Jackson versus Ronnie Barcelos. If you're clip hunting in this fight, good luck to you because Montague Jackson, one of the lower IQ guys that's out there in the UFC, he just I don't know what the fuck this guy is thinking. -200 basically on DraftKings Sportsbook, -192. Come back on Barcelos, so +160. I love me some Ronnie Barcelos. This guy, the fucking man, aging like fine wine. But I think just the length should play into play big time here. I worry for fantasy that it's a kickboxing fight. Jackson does not throw at all. He just does not. He's like allergic to it. And not very fun when it's going to be on the feet here. And Barcelos might want to bite down on the mouthpiece and close distance. I think that's going to hurt him. I think he'll walk into something if that occurs. The best path for Barcelos is get on those legs, get him down. Jackson clearly has some takedown defense deficiencies. The problem is I don't think I can get behind Jackson getting a finish. I think this guy is more than content with going to a decision. I'd love to take that inside the distance line on him, +200 on DraftKings Sportsbook, one of the better lines out there. Elsewhere, it's about +185. But I can't get there. I just think that there's an A side here. That Jackson, they still have faith in him. Problem is, put it together. Dude, Montague Jackson, put it together. Are you a Jackson guy or not? I mean, that's as simple as that, right?
I am
He's talented. He's got huge hands. He's got some of the biggest hands for this weight division. And power, too.
So I've been back and forth on him. I've been on him on one or two fights, off him on one or two fights. I did have I was off of him, I think, in the last fight where obviously he lost. But like um the Blackshear fight, I wasn't on him. That was the quickest L I've taken in a while, that I can remember off the top of my head. So the dude has massive power. He's just got to avoid getting in the grapple heavy, takedown fights, and I do think one thing that's interesting is we know Hani, he's a dog. He's going to move forward. He's going to try and go for takedowns, I think, here. He's going to try and stall this thing out, get Montel to the ground. And Montel's not terrible on the ground. You know what I mean? He knows what he's doing, but I think Hani, he can bring that relentless style. He could score well in a decision win for fantasy. So I think he's one of the better dog plays on the card. So I'm more on the Hani side here. I'm going to take a shot on him as a dog. And I like this 1.5 line for takedowns. If he's winning or if this fight is a decision fight, I think he's getting 2 takedowns.
Absolutely. He's stalling it out from a fantasy aspect or however you want to look at it, right? Like the takedowns are going to correlate very well with his money line.
Yes. Yeah, if you don't like Hani like at all and you love Montel, you shouldn't take this.
This might be the most frustrating fight on the whole slate, right? Has to be.
I'm telling you, if you're on the Montel side, you're going to be frustrated until you're not. Like you're going to be frustrated watching this fight until he finds that one big shot that can put down Hani. Because that's what you need, honestly. Because he's not a volume guy, right, Mike? Like 3 rounds. He's not someone who's gonna throw a billion strikes out there. He's looking to kill you with the 1 strike. He's looking to put you out.
I think the reach, it's almost a 10-inch. It's an 8-inch reach advantage. I mean, this could just be like keep him off, and the age difference is not even that bad. I thought it would be a lot better. I mean, it's a 5-year difference. Barcelos 39. Am I right? Like that. He's up
there.
Is like fine wine though. Like this physique will carry him for a couple more fights.
38.
Yeah, it's tough, man. This is one of the toughest fights I've had in a long time.
I think this fight either is Hani decision or Montel by KO. And I think it's gonna look one-sided. Like either Hani's just dogging him out there and just inside, he's getting inside, no problem. Or Montel is staying on the outside and he just finds that shot as Hani's coming in.
When's the last time Barcelos has been finished?
He's been finished
twice
in his career. It was a while though, right?
Umar 2023.
Yeah, Umar.
That's wild. He has had some adversity. He got knocked down by Kyler. But
hey, Kyler gave a good showing.
Those scorecards were a little Canadian-esque for that one, but
a little bit
is what it is. Yes, I want to play Jackson, but I will say I'm going to be more hesitant than I would because he's higher owned. If he was closer to that 15%, I'll give an extra 5%. If he was lower owned, I'd take way more stabs in DFS than I'd like to. With Barcelos being what do you think he comes in? 15 to 20?
I'd say 20.
Just because the grappling upside. He's that mold that we've seen. I personally am going to Alencar over him, but that's just my taste.
Shout out to my guy Landa, not a UFC guy, but any bet JSU gives out for a UFC at this point is a must play. Let's not go crazy here, Landa, but I do appreciate you, brother. I appreciate it. And how about Jason Tatum last night, brother? How about Jason Tatum? Stud. Absolute stud. Finds a way to get it done in the end after the slow start.
I mean, he's not lying. If you're tailing JSU, you're probably going to be on the plus side of things long term, and that's what this whole thing is about.
We got Ray, new to the channel. Thank you guys. Appreciate you watching, Ray. Hit the like button.
Discord.
Hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not subscribed. Appreciate all the likes and subscriptions. Those help. Those go a long way for the free stuff. So appreciate you watching and viewing. And Tatum just stone cold superstar. Get him the rock at the end.
Fight announcement.
By the way, are you okay with the takedown, or do you want to stay away from it? I forgot to even
for Barcelos. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I was just gonna look up how many takedowns on DraftKings, just where the line starts, because that is somewhat telling, is it not?
Oh, for sure.
It just says that's what the game plan is. Fighter props. I'm down over on takedowns right now. I've got minus 125 for over 1.5 on Barcelos right now.
Minus 125.
Are you getting a zero number on the pick six?
Yeah, this is a full line, so it's not like a point.
That's value.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. Shit, I hate it from because I want to take stabs on Jackson. I just can't at ownership, and I can't at
Dude, I'm telling you though, like Jackson, if you like Jackson, I think the way he wins this fight is finding the
I think
finish.
he knocks him out.
So you should like him.
I do. I know I shouldn't though, because I don't know if you told me that the 33% ownership that I'm seeing right now on my DFS side of things is going to come in even say 22%, I'm jamming him personally, because I think he's the type of guy.
I think it does.
Look at his his historical data points. When you click him, he's got the 130 point upside that people tend to forget about, I think. And Barcelos isn't getting younger. That chin eventually is going to go.
I mean, at some point it does. And Montel, when he throws, man, he throws heavy. Like
I remember when they touted him as having like the XXL gloves for, the lower weight class. Like they made that such a huge talking point at one point. But
I'm not betting this, but if I were on the Montel side, I'd be betting like Montel Jackson by KO in under 1.5.
Yeah, Lone Wolf 2023 and Umar.
Like I think that's how it happens. I think it happens under 1.5 rounds by KO. That's plus 380 on DraftKings if you're on the Montel side.
We could go on and on and on, but I think we're going to go on and on and on against the probably most important moneyline-esque fight on the slate. Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinelli. We have Davy Grant as a minus 122 favorite at this stage, plus 102 for Adrian, who fought our boy Volgadine from last week in the absolute fight of the year. These two guys got bonuses from Dana. That was such a great fight on Contender Series. But hell, they said, fuck you, man. You got all that money. We need to cut you real quick. They said, we get you the vet test in Davy Grant, who has just been a bona fide prospect killer. He needs a new nickname, does he not? He's Davy Dangerous Grant, right? But this guy just sets back so many people. Obviously, last fight out, Charles Jourdain drops some subs, gets him out of there. But I mean, Charles Jourdain's trajectory is pretty high right now, and we haven't seen him that high in a long time. The big ones for him was Dumont Blackshear. I was like, oh man, no chance. Bang, wins that fight. The Tavares, the volume in that fight was impressive, 150. I think he competes with Adrian on the feet. And I originally, when I first looked at this fight, I was like, oh shit, Adrian had so much output in that fight against Volgadine. It's going to be tough for Grant to get him. I actually agree with the money movement, and I'm surprised by myself saying that because I'm not a Davy Grant guy at all, JSU. Like, I've never been, because I just don't think he does enough sometimes to win fights. He's usually behind on the scorecard sometimes, and then he picks it up late, or he ends up getting, the other guy, like Homer Simpson, tired, and then he's just taking over late. So definitely an interesting fight. Do you agree that everyone's going to be here? 8K, now a favorite, 8,200. Super important for the context of DFS.
Yeah, this is I think this is a great fight for DFS. Another guy, I saw a clip, I think it was MMA Junkie interviewed him a few weeks ago, and I saw a clip of Davey talking about how the bonuses are nice that they added, the 100K bonuses. So he talked about that. He also talked about, being a little more disciplined in round 1 specifically and getting his reads, and then getting more aggressive 2 and 3. And the way Adrian fights, he's gonna be there to be hit. He's a very hittable guy. So I do think this fight, I think it can finish. Davy Grant does have grappling. He doesn't use it very often, right, Mike? But he does have it. It could be a situation because Adrian is very tough, and we see with these tough guys, they're really hard to put away. But maybe it's a club and sub type of situation here. So I sprinkled some Davy Grant by sub at 14-1 on DraftKings. And I do think one of my other favorites, I like inside the distance plus 275 for Davey. I think he can find a finish. I think it's a second or third round finish. So another guy where like on DraftKings, you can't do this, but on other books, I'm sure you can do like the round 2 and 3 where you just get both rounds 2 and 3. I kind of like that because I do think he's going to be very patient in that first round.
You can on the same game, by the way. If all you need to do, think about it, right? You just need to do the time over for the correlates to the.
Oh, you're right. You just no, but you have to do over 1.5, right? Or no, you can do that.
No, you can do minutes and seconds on DraftKings same game parlay.
You're
so
right.
all you need to do.
You are right.
See, we're fucking undefeated.
Total minutes right over 5.5, and then
you don't have to. You can even do seconds. So you could do 60 seconds times 5.
But you can't take
300.
I don't think you can take can you take finish, or you have to take one of KO or submission though?
Oh fuck. Yeah, good point. Well,
right?
Yeah,
but am I wrong, or am I
think no, you're right. You're right, but I didn't know
wish you could take both. I wish you could take both.
Yeah. Well, anywho, right?
Yeah.
Super important fight for the context of the slate. Another fight where money movement has come straight down on Davy Grant. I'm going to give you a stat that's very, very surprising. One fight of Davy Grant's entire career in the UFC has ever gone over 100 fantasy points. You don't need it on this slate. Context is everything. That stat is just to be like a surprise stat because he will absolutely hit optimal in a win, I think, just because of the pace that Adrian might set in front of him and because the tighter slate that we have in front of us. But I was shocked that he's only scored 100 points once, and he's got a shit ton of fights.
I'm not. The way he fights, normally it's very, very disciplined and very patient. I think that's one of the reasons why he was so bummed about his last fight and how quickly and stuff it happened and everything like that. So I'm not that shocked though, watching the way Davey fights. He's tough. So, and, he kind of builds as the fight goes on a little bit. So
now here's what you do. When Davey wins this fight today, because I'm on the same side, I like Davey. You have Adrian Martinelli rematch Mark Volgadine in the UFC.
Yes. That's what you do.
Simple. Son Shelby, give me a call. JSU and I are going to be there. That's the fight to make after this, and clip that one when we get to have that fun breakdown. Let's move on to the next fight of the night where we see Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez. Hernandez staying as the favorite with some money coming down on Rafa, a -118 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Rafa, a -102. I would like to tee you up. I see you straight looking down, but I mean, this one is just ugly. Money has come down on Rafa over the past 24 hours. He's down to -102. A little bit surprising to me on that. Was there a weigh-in thing there? I mean, Hernandez was missing interviews. I saw that. He was scheduled for a couple of those the betting guys in MMA Twitter. He missed like 1 or 2 of the podcasts he was supposed to do. I don't know if he ever made up, but that's never a good sign because that probably means he's trying to correct something, make weight, etc. I can never get Alex Hernandez right. Can you? And Rafa Garcia, I thought was going to be a great commodity for fantasy long term, just because his style of like, I don't know, he would strike first, but then there were fights where he would have Mahashati down 6 times. Like he was getting 7 takedowns against Natan Levy. He had a stretch of these amazing takedowns fights, and then it's kind of like he got away from that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see this fight. I think this fight, there's multiple ways this fight could go. I'm leaning though that this fight fails in DFS, and it ends up being like a pretty close fight where it's very split decision-esque. I think Hernandez though can, if Rafa comes in with takedown game plan, I think he can slow that down. Rafa's not going to stop. I think Hernandez is pretty tough too. So both these guys tough. And I think we see decision in this one. And I don't think in a decision, Hernandez is going to score amazing at 8,500. So I'm definitely off of him. So I think it would be dog or pass in this fight if I were to, like DFS wise or anything like that. But the way the line's going, like it does make me think like what's going on with Hernandez if it definitely flips. Where are we at right now with it?
Ownership or what?
No, the line.
It's moved a lot, but it's almost a pick 'em. -102 for Rafa, -118. That's a wild number. Never
Yeah.
seen that on DraftKings in particular.
Honestly, I don't have a ton of Rafa right now in DFS. I might have to switch that up.
Yeah. Coffee break, breakfast with the Hernandez by KO or Garcia points. Not a bad take.
That's the way. That's kind of the way I would I guess look at. I mean, Hernandez could win a decision though. I
Yeah,
don't
but
think that's crazy.
I think this fight really comes down to Rafa because it seems like Hernandez can get like out physicaled sometimes. Don't like what was the one where he was against the old guy, Kurt Hollabaugh.
Oh,
Dude,
that one tilted me because I was on Kurt Hollabaugh, and all he had to do was stop one takedown in that third round, and he wins that fight, and he just couldn't stop a takedown.
I don't know
His
what was
takedown
worse.
defense is so bad.
I don't know what was worse, that fact or the wife that was screaming the whole entire time.
I don't remember the wife,
I
but I
remember
remember the
It was
takedown
bad.
defense because I was screaming
Mhm.
the whole time.
And you know what Kurt does too? He does that rubber guard where his legs are up holding him, so he's not like you can do anything. Funny enough, he actually had significant strikes because he's punching them because he's got the rubber guard. But regardless, yes, tough fight. I think people will be drawn towards Rafa now because of the equity. I said this is a money line slate, didn't I? I should be getting more Rafa. Unfortunately, I'm still taking Hernandez, which means everyone should take Rafa. Inside the distance lines on this fight, plus 330 for Hernandez, best price on market for him at DraftKings Sportsbook. I might have to take some of that because of the money line, or sorry, the elsewhere, it's like plus 270. And then Garcia's plus 400. He's not an inside the distance guy at all. But I like betting inefficiency, so I'll probably have some Hernandez inside the distance just to have that covered. Let's move on to the co-main event of the evening, where Jocelyn Edwards is in title contention. Norma Dumont is in title contention. Big Norm -205 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Jocelyn Edwards at plus 120, 170. Sorry. Fight very much expected go to a decision as always. -400, like always in these women's fights. I don't know what to think of this. I had last year a Norma Dumont futures ticket, but it's like she took a step back, and then she had some silly comments like that Vieira fight. Well, holy shit! If you remember in Discord, live betting is where I was like, take a shot on Dumont. It was a hard. She lost that fight against Vieira. I believe it. Everybody that watched the fight should say she lost it.
Everyone believes it,
but it's one of those spots where the number starts ballooning, on DraftKings where it goes plus 25 to 1, 40 to 1. And I'm like, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Those are one of those ones that you could see it, right? Like if there's an A side, it's definitely Dumont. She's marketable, moving up the chain, but that fight looks so bad. I don't know what version of her we're going to get. I hope we get a refined, polished, striking one. That Aldana fight is why I bet her to be champion, which would have been what? last year or this year. I think it would have been this last year because
Mhm.
the year before was the Aldana fight. She's not fighting very active. I think Dumont would have a better chance if she was more active. Her kickboxing is pretty damn good. Jocelyn Edwards is where this fight comes down to. Like, is she at this level or not? Clearly is really rounded into form with the takedowns, Vidal, Chandler knockout, Priscilla. I mean, she's finishing when this division does not finish. Does she embrace the variance and go for it, do you think? Because if she does, this fight could be interesting for fantasy. Nobody is going to want to go here. Norma, very much going to be that 10% owned type of fight as a favorite. If you look at Edwards, she's probably going to be higher owned because there's nowhere to go on this slate. Like I said, I hate some of these dogs. I'm looking at win equity, and I don't think that Edwards necessarily has win equity, but she's got scoring ability, does she not?
She does. So normally when I do this and I take both fighters' resumes and I just compare them, right? And I see, one is just clearly a way better resume, which is obviously Norma, right? She's fought the better fighters, regardless of what you want to say about the Vieira fight, right? She fought those girls, she's fought some good ones and she's won. And then you pull up Jocelyn, you're like, okay, some of these girls like Cachoeira, Chandler, Cornole, like these don't really compare to some of the top girls that Norma's fought. But the one thing I will say is when I see that you're at least finishing for a female fighter to be finishing those fights, that's when I'm like, okay, let me take a step back here because at least she's not just riding decisions every single fight. No, she's going out there and she's trying to finish fights and she's improving. She's improving in the grappling. She's improving in the striking. She's improving with the takedowns and stuff like that. And it's like, okay. And then we go back and look at it's like, is Norma slowing down? Maybe. And I think the line might just be a little wide here. So I'm on the Jocelyn side. I bet her at plus 170. I don't know if we see a finish, but I at least think that she's going to go out there and try. Like I at least think that she's going to go out there and, go out and try and, finish Norma like she's been doing with these other chicks. I don't think it's going to be obviously that easy. I don't think she's going to be able to just like bully Norma like she's done to some of these other girls. That's probably not going to help with the finish aspect, but could she win a decision? I 100% think she could win a decision here. So, Jocelyn Edwards, I plus 170. That's my bet. And for DFS, it's dog or pass because I don't know how you're betting Norma.
Well, I mean, you're playing Norma if you think that the pace is going to be high and she catches her. I mean, this is one of those situations where I definitely, in a very, very low percentage, could see Norma like catch like a head kick coming in on a takedown or some meme shit that would happen. Very, very low percentage outcome. It is absolutely a horrifying fight. When you have Ketlin Vieira getting 2 for 4 takedowns on that last fight, that was just so telling. I don't know if she had something wrong. She might have been sick. I'm looking at that fight going, there's something off about it. She did. People forget. Norma tripled her up on significant strikes. Why do you think I bet her in the live market? Over the first 2 rounds, it was 2-1, 2-1 on significant strikes. And the judges continue to go on significant strikes. The same type of situation could happen here, guys. Like, I sniff split decision bullshit if it's
I was waiting for you to say it. Split decision bullshit.
I mean, I have it in our Run Pure paywall there. I have her by Norma by split. It's the A side. I don't think fighters or judges are going to like Edwards because she is going to lay and pray probably. She might advance position once or twice, but she's not just looking to take your head off on the mat. So I like Edwards from a fantasy standpoint. I like Alencar. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to probably play one or the other in my lineups. I think that either of those 2 ladies are going to be extremely important to the context of the slate to open things up from a money line balance in a probably 10x, right? Like if Edwards has more of a lower ceiling, I imagine. I mean, she could probably, floor. She has a lower floor than Alencar. Alencar, I think, would at least continually get takedowns, where I think if Edwards is struggling to get takedowns, she could still make it competitive, which just means it could be like a, 52-point win? Like, if it's a striking battle, it's not going to look great, but I'm going to embrace the variance. I don't mind. If you're taking both of those ladies, I think you're doing a little too crazy in your lineups. Then you really have to play the ownership game up top, but that's how I'm going to be playing things. I hate it. Don't you hate playing Edwards? Because it could look like if she doesn't get any offensive wrestling off, it's not good.
It's going to be like a 59-point win if they win, if she doesn't get any wrestling off.
You know what the takedown line is? -185 over 0.5. So 1 takedown for Edwards. Do we just take 2 at +140? Because that's all she needs is 2 rounds with 2 takedowns.
Well, I think you could do that from a pick 6 side, though. What about significant strikes? I think Norma's going to be tougher to take down. She's going to, I think, even though, I want a finish, we think there's a decision in a lot of, we know there's a decision in a lot of Norma fights. So if it's going an extra round or 2 than normal, and we think she could be striking more, I feel like she could get over this number pretty easily.
For who?
Jocelyn, 39.5 significant strikes. That seems low.
So I actually was looking at the other side. If you look at Dumont's significant strikes outside of that Aldana fight, which you and I know was a war, right? 160 strikes basically there. 62 for Dumont, 11, 47, 35, 52, 38, 65, 68. I mean, that line is saying that she stops the takedowns.
Yeah.
There's more possibility for negating, and she just doesn't throw. She'll probably be more powerful when she throws, though, right, Dumont? She'll probably like if she hits her, there's a world where Jocelyn is visually getting hurt, right?
Honestly, I think both these girls go over. Should we take out any of these?
I'm pulling it up bigger on the screen now. I can't remember what you and I didn't like.
Should we? Well, we like these, obviously. That's why we have them. But
no, I'm saying like which one of them?
Should we take out like a Hani takedowns or?
I didn't like the Hani takedowns. I think he could potentially get finished. There is value on the -125, but like 10 cents of value. So
is there a way we can take both? I don't think
there is, but I think you take Edwards based on everything that's dealt to us, right? If we're looking at historical Edwards, if she gets top position, she can sneak out some significant strikes. The problem for her is like she's finishing ladies, which doesn't correlate to significant
but we
strikes.
don't think she's gonna finish normal.
No,
that
correct.
So, which lays into the that's why it's probably a good fight to ladder significant strikes on both sides.
I agree with that statement, and that's where I was leaning to. Is it's going to correlate to over on significant strikes because this fight should be drawn out, and not to mention if there's a finish, it's more so on the Edwards side, I would imagine. I mean, it's Norma's super durable. That's an interesting one. I mean, we've already hit it before the main event. That's okay because who knows? We might find something in the main event. We may not. Main event: Aljamain Sterling versus Youssef Zalal. We have Zalal coming in as a -135 favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Come back on Aljamain Sterling, a +114. I mean, do either of these guys get a title shot? They need probably a definitive type of situation, like
unless Zalal or Sterling goes in there and runs through the other. If this is a decision, I don't think there's any chance the next title contender is one of these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling was an interesting case pre 2026. Like he was one of those future guys that I liked because future a champion before, right, in a lower weight class. They're going to probably try to market him or get a name value off of him, a la Youssef Zalal, right? Or some of these guys coming up. But stylistically, Zalal probably can stuff some takedowns. I don't think it's as easy as if Sterling gets like 3 takedowns, the fight's over, or even, I don't even know. Would 5 be too many? I mean, maybe. I think Zalal is crafty on the feet. There is a possibility where it is like they negate each other. They just end up, there's nothing. There's a stalemate. It ends up being a kickboxing match for 5 rounds. And I think there's a big concern.
I don't even know if that's that could happen, obviously. Another path is you just kind of see the Aljo Mozar situation where you got the grappling, like you got to see it. You got to see both guys like get off their grappling, and they both were just so elite that it kind of negated themselves from like an actual finish or a big score. And then we get like a very close decision split, probably split in that situation there. So yeah, I think that's definitely possible. And how would that score for these price tags? It probably would score okay in 5 rounds. If it, the Mozar was 3, I think, right? So it wasn't 5. So in 5 rounds at these price tags, it would probably score well. The Zalal fantasy point seems low. If you like the Zalal side,
I do
69.5, and I do kind of lean Zalal. When I went to break down this fight, before I started breaking it down, I looked at the line. I was kind of surprised that Aljo wasn't the favorite. Slight favorite, but I was kind of surprised he wasn't. And normally when that happens and I go and I'm assuming one thing and it's the opposite of what I'm assuming, it's like, okay, that's kind of telling to me, because in my opinion, they gave Aljo someone that should favor Aljo's style. He's gonna bring it, like, yeah, he's gonna be very defensively sound, Zalal. He's gonna try and stay safe, but he's gonna try and grapple and wrestle. He will play the wrestle and grapple game with Aljo, and I think Aljo wants that. You know what I mean? I think that's what Aljo wants here. So it's definitely interesting to me that Zalal is the -135 favorite and not Aljamain, but it's also kind of telling in a way. Because that's how Zalal's been winning. He's been winning using his grappling.
Have you seen like anybody like Zalal who has been cut by the UFC that gets back to a main event? I mean, think about how tough that is from all aspects. Like usually you're cut, you're not coming back. They re-sign him and he starts ripping off quality wins. So props to him getting up here. I agree. It's been submission based. That's why I think that it leans Zalal when it's on the feet. He's a very, very good kickboxer. He was the guy on the to come back into the UFC. He had 3 fights on one night. I think it was a kickboxing fight, a boxing, and an MMA or a Muay Thai, some shit like that. It was a gladiator. It was awesome. Awesome job for him to get back in. Sterling seems to be quote unquote checked out, does he not? Have you had any Funk Harbor, whatever it is, whiskey or whatever the hell? I don't really drink, so I don't fucking know, but I can't imagine it's that great if his fallback plan is going to be an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Aljo's pretty elite from the standpoint, like the way Zalal wants to fight. I feel like he can handle this style. If you can handle Mozar, then that's impressive, especially in some of the situations they were getting in that fight. So I know it was only 3 rounds, but yeah.
I wish I had the stat for Mr. Turner here in chat. The dogs have absolutely been hitting for this potential. I mean, even Leon almost did the upset against Mosar, right? Like didn't happen, but like still lean towards the dog on that spot. The volume, I mean, there's potential. The problem was they're both grapplers, so their numbers on significant strikes when I'm looking at UFC stats are going to be so inflated to not absorbing strikes because they're mitigating anything coming back towards them. Also 4.45 significant strikes out there, absorbing just 2.2. That's pretty elite. Like, that's a champion level, which he was. ZALAL, 3 significant strikes, only absorbing 1.78. So I worry about the scoring. I legitimately do if it ends up just being kickboxing at distance. I think ZALAL is the side here for me. I'm worried about fantasy. Are you? Like, I think there's a world where I could fade it and it would be okay, but pricing is everything. You really drew me in with the price side of things, right?
Yeah, it's the pricing. It's not the fight. Because on the surface, the fight, there are many. Even in 5 rounds, there are ways where this fight is bad and doesn't hit the optimal. It's just that the price tags kind of pull you in. I think more on the Aljo side, obviously, because he's 7,800. And regardless of who you think wins, 8,400 Zalal could be harder to hit even in a win than that 7,800. And I think like the wrestling upside is on Aljo. Now the grappling, maybe the grappling could negate itself, but the wrestling I feel like is Aljo. Don't you agree?
Oh, 100%. I mean, ZALAL has been taken down too. I mean, let's not think that he's just stopping takedowns. Since he's been back, Jack Shore is I think he's retired. Was a guy that would go in there and get rinse repeat takedowns. He got him down twice on it since he's come back. So if Jack Shore is doing that, you absolutely think that Sterling can get him first, second round. I think it gets really interesting 3, 4, 5. Has Sterling really gone deep? Like, he has, but like without getting takedowns, he's very reliant on them.
Oh yeah, look at a lot of his fights. They're getting takedowns in these fights.
So it's that line. You and I we're sniffing it out. It stayed favoritism towards ZALAL. I'll be having some ZALAL all up and down my lineups.
What do you think, Zalal? Do we take out anyone or do we just leave it? I don't think we need this fight. I could see this fight being splitty anyways. So
the value is insane for 5 rounds based on 69.5, but we don't need it. We don't need it. I'm fading the main event in some of my lineups purposefully to just say, hey, maybe there's some stronger plays. What if Valenzuela ends up being like a 95-point play? What if some of these other guys around ZALAL?
Well, I hope not, because our first pick 6 is Victor Valenzuela under 69.5 fantasy points. We got Montague over 39.5 significant strikes. McVey over 83.5 fantasy points. Puccheia over 69.5 fantasy points. Davey Grant over 68.5 fantasy points. And Jocelyn Edwards over 39.5 significant strikes here. Oh shoot, only put $10 on it. Damn it.
Oh, that's nothing. Hey, it still counts when winners win. That's okay. I'm gonna run down a couple bets that I was uncovering while you're trying to get another 110. Jeez, look at this.
Oh, I mean, I put 100 on it. I can't cheap out on the people here.
No, I love it.
There you go. There it is. Yay, confetti.
So first bet of the night that I have that I uncovered was Alencar round 1 minus 1.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 300. That's a great way to start the fight night. I really like that bet. I'm happy I was able to uncover it with you. Even though you're on the other side, you still agreed. It was a potential upside there. I'm going to run down a couple more. I like that Griffin fight to have significant strikes over ladder. All over the place. Take both guys ladder, and then the fight overall, because that one could be a war. Sprinkle. Marshall fight goes to the decision as a whole, plus 100. I think they're both durable enough. Then you don't have to pick a side. I like that one. Personally, I'm going to take McVey, 1 takedown, plus 225. He could just do the knockdown into Dumas, falling down, and he takes him down, whatever. I just like the number at plus 225. Both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, you're going to give me plus money on both of these guys by submission. Vieira and Puccheia, give me both of those guys by submission. Each individual plays. And then I kind of like this market. I was digging up. I didn't tell you in a live show here, but Edwards finish only. I know in chat we have Altline barking up that Dumont could get a finish. I do think that there's only one side that can finish in that fight, and it's Edwards. So minus 130 finish only. So at least you're covered if it goes to a decision or anything else occurs. I kind of like that just as like a boost. When I'm playing those, I like to play them in a parlay because you know what it does? It juices things up with no risk.
Yeah, I like that. I was just putting in a couple bets. I really like for money line, I like Max Griffin plus 110. For finishes, I like Jafil Filho. The same game parlay I gave out, it's now down to plus 105. It was, I think, plus 115 earlier this morning or whatever it was. Jafil Filho submission and under 2.5 plus 105 on DraftKings Sportsbook if you do the same game parlay. And same thing with Marcus Puccheia under 2.5 and submission plus 170 on DK Sportsbook. Then a little bit longer, but Davy Grant plus 275 inside the distance, and a little 14-1 on the sub call for Davy Grant as well. Just a few of the bets I put in for here. So
that's a wild number with money movement on the money line headed towards Davy Grant. 14-1 is absolutely insane, and you don't even need to worry about the round.
No.
Club and sub absolutely in the picture because he does. He's sneakily the guy that will go for it, a submission instead of just pounding on him, because I do think he worries about his gas tank quite a bit. Lone Wolf here, what are your top 3 8,500 and above fighters, and then your 3 best dogs ranked? Personally, we might be on different sides. That's okay, JSU. But you know I like my Alencar. I think she's an elite play to start the slate in a win. So I'm going to go Alencar. I'm going to preface it by saying leverage point, number 2. Number 2 for me would be whatever leverage you want, whether it be McConico, Dumas, I guess Griffin technically, right? One of those types of plays would be number 2. And number 3 is Edwards for me. I do think that Edwards or Alencar are one of the 2 plays that really are an unlock the whole entire slate. And then top 3, 8,500 and above. I actually kind of like those plays staying in the middle range. I do like Puccheia. I guess I like ZALAL due to the fact that people probably aren't going to go here. And I do think it's a money line card. So when it ends up being a money line card, I'll take the leverage that I get for those points if it makes sense there, JSU. But above it, dear God, I'm going to say Jackson McVey, number 1 for me. I'm trying not to avoid the upper range, but I say Montague right behind Fialho just based on ownership. I know that that's a great play. I do like Vieira. Do you like Vieira? If he ends up being the lower owned of this upper echelon of fighters, that could be the play right there. I mean, I'm hoping it's closer to 25.
I'm a little lower on Vieira, just looking at my stuff.
You have to be though, right? Like based on merit. I just think if there's somebody that has potential to be lower owned than what we think, which is that a third of the field is going to play Vieira, Montague, Marshall. I'm hoping Vieira is the lower of the guys and girls. So that's how I would be handling it. But I think I showed my cards. It's the rule. One of Alencar or Edwards, maybe taking some of that Puccheia and McVey. How is that fight minus 170 McVey and the money or the inside the distance is minus 145?
It's telling you that
crazy.
One side is a finish and one side is a decision somehow.
I know, but like, what is the decision prop for?
It's like plus 800 for McVey.
Doesn't it seem crafty that if he could win a round or 2? Like, I mean,
yeah, it does.
But not even that.
Winning, he's gonna finish, is what they're saying.
That should mean that Dumas is plus like 200 to be win by decision. You know what he is? He's plus 900. So you should blindly. You should just blindly
bet that decision prop,
or just blindly take the overs. Do the ladder, right? Do the ladder of whatever it is that starts at plus money. 0.5.
I mean, you could just take the fight to go to decision at plus 400.
I know, but again, laddering it would be more fun. Safety.
Yeah, that's
2.5, 1.5, whatever. Give me how you're gonna attack it and get us out of here for fantasy, because I do think from that aspect, Personally, I'm not looking at the main event as a 5-round fight. I think that might be wrong. Are you jamming main event? How are you handling that? And then what are you doing to get crafty?
No, I think I'm going to be about 75% on the main event, maybe 80. So I'm not going to be like 100% on it because I do think there's a path to where it can fail. I like Jafil and Montague at the top the most for like the 9Ks. And then big on Davy Grant today, who's in the 8K range. And then I think like the long shots, Max Griffin, he's not like a long shot from a betting perspective, but like DFS 7,600, I think is interesting. Barcelos at 7,600, another cheap guy I'll have a good amount of. And then Jocelyn, I'll have some of in DFS. The dogs are tough. Like the DFS dogs are tough. You know what I mean? From a betting perspective, I'm fine with betting all three of those. But like from a DFS perspective, hitting those dogs right.
You said you and I mean, listen, we just covered 4 dogs right there. So like you could make a rule, guys, that says one of these guys or 2 of these guys.
True.
You're on the guys, I'm on the ladies. It's a tricky slate.
It is. It's definitely a tricky one. But that's everything, guys. Check us out, rumpuresports.com. Everything DFS, sports betting. We got you covered over there. Everything's rocking right now. We got the new tools we've added for MLB, the Weather Edge, which is free right now. If you guys want to go check it out, you need an account, but you don't need to have like a paid subscription account. You just need an account active, and you can check that Weather Edge out for free. If you're playing MLB, weather is huge, obviously, for MLB. So check that out. And then a new MLB research hub that StatStational set up for baseball, NASCAR, and we added it for NBA playoffs as well. So the hub is now live for NBA playoffs, not just baseball and NASCAR. So check that thing out. It is pretty awesome. People love it. I know there's a basketball slate that just started. Baseball slate's coming. Obviously MMA today, NASCAR this weekend. So tons of sports going on, tons of content. Check it out. rumpuresports.com. Playoffs 26. If you want 26% off your first month over at rumpuresports.com, use that promo code playoffs26. We'll hook you up a little 26% off. But that's going to do it for this edition of the UFC show. For Mike, I'm John. Good luck in your MMA betting and DFS over on DraftKings. And we'll see you next week. We're out. Peace.